What if I told you that From may have accidentally spoiled not one survivor from the season 4 finale, but two? And honestly, the more I looked into it, the crazier it started to get. Because what seemed like a harmless actor interview may have quietly revealed the fate of two of the show's most important characters. And if that's true, it completely changes how we should be looking at the final episodes of the season. Hey, what's up everyone? Come back to Breakdown, Epic. Just to let you know, this video will contain spoilers. With only a couple of episodes left before the finale, fans have been trying to figure out who survives, who dies, and whether the town is finally heading toward another massacre. But after a recent cast Q&A, I think we may have gotten one of the biggest clues of the entire season. And the funniest part? I don't even think it was intentional. So, here's what happened. During a recent discussion featuring the actors behind Victor and Henry, they were asked a pretty simple question about their favorite scenes from the season. Nothing unusual there. But while talking about it, Victor's actor mentioned that one of his favorite moments involved a scene with Henry.
More specifically, he referred to it as their final scene together. Now, at first, that might not sound like much, but when you really think about it, it raises a huge question. Why are they talking about a major emotional scene that apparently happens near the end of the season if one of them is supposed to die before everything is over? Personally, I don't think that's a coincidence. In fact, I think it's our first major hint that both characters make it much further into the finale than many people expected. But wait, because it gets even more interesting. Later in the conversation, the topic shifted toward returning for future filming, and this is where things started getting awkward in the best possible way. Victor's actor casually talked about coming back and even joked about whether he and Henry's actor would still be roommates. Then Henry's actor started responding and suddenly stopped himself mid-sentence. You could almost feel the realization hit. It was one of those moments where someone catches themselves before saying too much. And honestly, that's what caught my attention more than anything else.
Because if these characters were both heading towards certain deaths, why would the conversation naturally drift toward next season at all? Sure, some people will say characters can come back as visions, hallucinations, or flashbacks, and technically that's true. We've seen that happen before. But there is a big difference between filming a couple of brief appearances and returning as an active part of the story. The confidence in that conversation felt very different. It sounded like people who expected to still be around. And if that's the case, then we may already know that both Victor and Henry survived Season 4. Now, before anyone says we're jumping to conclusions, let's remember something important. This isn't the first time From fans have spotted clues outside the episodes themselves. Some of the biggest hints in previous seasons came from promotional material, interviews, and behind-the-scenes comments. Sometimes the smallest details end up being the biggest spoilers. And if Victor and Henry do survive, that creates a fascinating problem for one of the show's biggest ongoing theories, the Massacre cycle. Because for months now, many viewers have been convinced that the town is heading toward another catastrophic event, a repeat of the tragedy Victor witnessed as a child. The signs have been everywhere: the fear, the tension, the growing sense that history is repeating itself. But what if that's exactly what the show wants us to think? What if the cycle is supposed to happen, but somehow fails this time? To me, that's where things get really interesting. Because if more and more major characters keep surviving, then the pattern starts breaking apart. And a broken pattern is often far more dangerous than the pattern itself. Think about it. What if the town depends on these cycles? What if every massacre serves a purpose? And what happens if the residents finally interrupt something that has been happening for decades? That's the kind of finale twist that could completely change the direction of the series moving forward. Another detail that stands out is Sophia's role in everything that's coming.
The closer we get to the finale, the more she seems connected to the biggest events of the season. Multiple hints suggest that her presence becomes even more important in the final episodes. And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if she's directly involved in whatever massive change is waiting for the town. Whether that's connected to the man in yellow, the cycle itself, or something even bigger, it feels like she's right in the middle of it. Then there's Boyd. And if we're being honest, Boyd may be facing the most important decision of the entire series. The finale description talks about him reaching a terrifying crossroads. That's not the kind of wording you use for a small decision. That sounds like someone being forced to choose between two impossible outcomes. One path could save people, the other could destroy everything. And knowing From, neither option is probably good. Personally, I still think Boyd is getting closer to the truth than anyone realizes. Not necessarily to escaping the town immediately, but to understanding the rules behind it. Because one thing this season has done really well is slowly pull back the curtain on how everything might actually work.
We're getting pieces of the puzzle, not the full picture, but enough pieces to start seeing the outline. And that brings us to the biggest question of all. What if Season 4 isn't about escaping? What if it's about discovering how escape is actually possible? That's a very different thing. Instead of ending with people driving away into the sunset, maybe the finale reveals the doorway, the answer, the method, the thing they've been searching for all along. Then, Season 5 becomes the battle over whether they can actually use it. Honestly, that feels like the direction the story is heading. It would explain why so many mysteries are still unresolved, and why the writers seem comfortable keeping major characters alive moving forward. Because if the real end game is still ahead of us, then Season 4 doesn't need to close every chapter. It just needs to change the game. And based on everything we've seen, I think that's exactly what's about to happen. So right now, my biggest prediction is this. Victor survives. Henry survives.
The massacre doesn't unfold the way everyone expects. Boyd uncovers something massive, and by the time the finale ends, the town will never be the same again. But here's the thing. Even with all of these clues, From still has a way of surprising us when we least expect it. Every time we think we've figured the show out, it throws another curveball. And that's exactly why these final episodes are so exciting, because for the first time in a long time, it genuinely feels like anything could happen. But now, I want to hear from you. Do you think those actor comments accidentally confirmed Victor and Henry survive? Do you think the cycle is finally about to break? And if the massacre fails, what does that mean for the future of the town? Let me know your theories down below. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss any of our finale coverage. We are getting closer and closer to the endgame, and trust me, the biggest reveals may still be ahead of us. I will catch you in the next one.